Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. Riding solo again, as Dan is, as we mentioned in the preview, away having a lovely time with his family. Nevertheless, I am here to talk about Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 0. What a win. And the win is all that matters here because the performance was neither here nor there. But as I mentioned in the preview, it was going to take a sort of a win by any means approach for us to genuinely start taking Europe as an actual serious consideration, as something that we can actually go and achieve. And listen, by no means was the football beautiful today. By no means did we completely and utterly blow Nottingham Forest away. But again, one of the operative words that I mentioned in the preview was control. And there was never really a portion of the game where Villa didn't have control. The one thing that I would say is we looked quite leggy after the game on Tuesday. Obviously, it's a short turnaround, Tuesday to Saturday at 3 o'clock, but here we are. No complaints about that. Certainly won't be hearing any complaints if we do make Europe. Obviously, we know what the schedule is going to be like for that, and it's pretty grueling. I thought players like Moreno, Guinea, JJ, who I thought were electric against Leicester, just looked a little bit leggy, and it is understandable. It's not a criticism, it's more of an observation. But Villa got the business done here, and that's what's really important in this game. Obviously, scoring 2 goals, the late goal from Ollie as well. It's almost a cherry on top, really. Obviously, a 1-0 win. You kind of see it as standard run of the mill. Villa win 2-0. They go up into 6th. Obviously, Brighton do have 2 games in hand. However, we sit in 6th. That's not even Europa Conference League. That's a Europa League level that we're sitting at right now. If we're there at the end of the season, that's when, we can start to get excited and start booking our flights and making sure our passports are all in check. It's hard not to get giddy at the thought, especially as today's results really actually went Villa's way. Obviously, Brighton lose to Spurs, puts a bit of daylight between us. Newcastle beat Brentford. Now, I do ultimately, this may be controversial, I think Newcastle will sneak top 4. I think they've got a favourable run of fixtures. As long as they don't lose, which they haven't done a lot of this season, in their sort of off periods over the past month and a half, 2 months, they've really been drawing games. They haven't looked like scoring, but I mean, today, Alexander Isak scores and he keeps continuing to do so. He's a fantastic player, it pains me to say. More on that in the preview, though, because obviously we've got them coming up. But that will be another video for another day. And hopefully I'll have Dan with me on that one because it's an exciting one to preview, that's for sure. It's going to be a massive game at Villa Park next week. Anyway, I digress. Newcastle obviously take points off Brentford, which again, that is another team in and around where we want to be. Fulham lose as well to West Ham today. It's a great day to be a Villa fan, really, isn't it, guys? Absolutely wonderful. Bertrand Traore, we need to talk about him. The clip I posted on TikTok of me sort of getting a bit giddy about Bertie that was cut up from this podcast. I'm sure if you guys don't follow us on TikTok, make sure you do so. It's at Heart of the Holte and at Villa Filler Pod on Instagram. Short form versions of these podcasts will be there, so you can get little micro doses of the filler wherever you are. But the clip that I put up, just sort of getting gassed about Bertie scoring and the sort of the redemption arc of what could be. There were so many people going, it's like mid-goal or like mid-player, all this kind of stuff. And I've seen a few sort of grumblings from Villa fans on Twitter as well, being like, why are we trying to rewrite history with Bertrand Traore? The facts are the facts, and the facts of what I presented in that video. I've always maintained, you go and watch any podcast where Bertrand Traore is playing, I've got, man, this guy doesn't defend as much as he should. This guy's inconsistent, but boy, is he a maverick. And does he not half score a screamer? And again, it wasn't a screamer today, but it was an emphatic goal, let's say, if I'm allowed to get hyperbolic over the goal, because, it's a wonderful ball in from Ash. And I think that goal actually highlights for me the difference between Traore and Bailey, because you guys who listen to the podcast know I do like Leon, but I think Dan and I have said many a time, some time out of the 11 wouldn't be the worst idea in regards to Leon. I think he needs an arm around the shoulder. He needs to be feeling 100% to be playing. But the difference between the two for me is when Ash plays that ball, firstly, Leon is going to instantly try and get it on his left foot. What Bertie did, allowing the ball to go as far as it did practically onto the byline and coming in, that close control that Bertrand has Leon doesn't quite possess, or if he does, we haven't seen it in these sort of high pressure games. We know Leon puts a lot of pressure on himself, sort of make these moments of magic, but that sort of close control, the skill, the sort of agility with the ball at the feet, it's so natural to Bertrand, and that's what I really like. And I think that's the difference ultimately. Obviously, he cuts inside, gets his shot away. It's initially saved, sort of comes off John Joe Shelby, I believe it was, and then Bertie gets a second bite of the cherry and scores, and it's great. 2-2. Again, the redemption arc is in full flow, and I'm here for it personally. I am. And listen, it wasn't an accomplished performance from Bertrand Traore, but I will have no slander for the person who scored the opening, and you could probably argue winning goal if you like. You guys can obviously debate that in the comments. But Ollie's goal was brilliant, right? Because there was a lot of energy. I think in the first half, JJ kind of knew what he needed to do, where he needed to be. Had probably about the first 25 minutes, I'd say. He was sort of involved in the game a lot and was getting a lot of joy down that left-hand side. And then it wasn't until sort of later on in the game, in the second half, where we really started to see JJ pop up a little bit more. And there was some gorgeous interplay with JJ and Ollie in the box there, which allowed Ollie to obviously go and score the goal, chipping Keylor Navas, who I believe is a 3-time Champions League winner. I mean, it's pretty mad. Obviously, when the teams, I found this quite funny in the ground, when Forest won the coin toss, then wanted to switch ends. It's usually bad news for teams because we've been scoring so many early goals in front of the Holte. Alas, it didn't happen this season, but people were giving Keylor Navas a load of stick, as they do. It just happens. And he just looked at us and clapped. And I was like, do you know what? That is a man. He's been there, done it, got the T-shirt, got the European Cups. Nothing phases this guy. And it was pretty surreal to see a 3-time Champions League winner in goal for Nottingham Forest. I know there's history there. I know there's pedigree. But in terms of recent history, that is pretty mental. But alas, even a Champions League winner wasn't able to stop Dom Unai's tricky villains. Guys, it just feels so good to come on here and talk about Aston Villa to you guys right now. We're in such a good place. I think I predicted a 3-0. I can't remember, but 2-0 will absolutely take that. It's another clean sheet. Villa have only conceded 2 goals in their last 7 games. Let that sink in. Actually, don't, because he may score against us. We are so solid at the back right now. And what a time it is to be a Villa fan. What I also loved as well, side note, just before I put this back to you guys before we end the episode, Emi Martinez at the end obviously comes up to the whole end, and he made sure Bertrand Traore got the love, respect from the whole end that he deserved. You love to see it. The togetherness in this team right now, it's like something we've never seen before, and the moment that we're existing in right now is almost comparable to the 10-game win run in the Championship, right? We're watching something extremely special unfold at Aston Villa Football Club right now. And I, for one, cannot wait to be back here with Dan Moisman to discuss the Newcastle game. So, guys, let me know your thought predictions. What are they? Your thoughts on the game in the comment section down below. Let me know where you were. Let me know how you watched it. Let me know who your favourite player was. I want to know everything. I'll be engaging with you guys. Don't you worry about that. So, yeah, if you are new here, make sure you subscribe. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Dan made a link tree. It will be in the description of the video.